Lots of snow here, and today we talk about patch 6.2. Just a brief overview of some of the information that was data mined for the latest PTR. I have 4 points marked out. Discussion about Tanaan Jungle, shipyard and naval missions, some points on Hellfire Citadel, the new raid, and Time Walker, as well as there's some priest changes, there's some new toys, new mounts, new pets. So let's just begin with the priest changes. As you can see, I have notes, so this is why I keep looking down. The priest changes are, well, for me, being a Shadow Priest, the Shadow Priest changes are: my strongest attack, Devouring Plague, now does 12% less damage, which isn't a good thing. Sometimes I struggle for DPS as it is. Maybe overall, all classes are being, re-leveled, and I don't really know the specifics about it, because when these new buffs and debuffs and nerfs and whatever are released, I only ever check out the Shadow Priest one, because that's all that really matters to me. But my strongest attack now does 12% less damage, so obviously it was doing too much, or it was too high compared to other strong class attacks. But the other one, which is actually pretty good, Shadow Form. This is Shadow Form, for those who don't know. Being a Shadow Priest, believe it or not, when I turn into Shadow, it deals 25% extra damage and increases my armor by 100%. Now, before, when I mounted up, this happened. The Shadow Form encompassed the mount as well. I'll change a few. It all gets shadowed. In 6.2, Shadow Form no longer applies effect to the mounts, which will be cool. So I, as a player, can look like this, but whenever I mount up, my mount will be fully coloured, which I like, because after just getting this a few days ago, obviously I want to show it off. So now I can. Okay, so moving on to Tanaan Jungle. I just have a few points down. It's always good to get a new zone. Can't complain with that. More storyline, a lot more stuff to do. There's more content, which everybody has been wanting and complaining about, that 6.1 didn't bring enough content and it was just a vanity patch and it was a load of rubbish. Hopefully the zone as a leveling area, not a leveling area because you should be 100 by the time you get there, but as an area as itself, hopefully it'll last a while. Pardon me. It should be interesting to see how Grom will play into this story. I know, as for the new raid, Grom's not a part of it, so it'd be interesting to see how the story evolves through Tanaan and where he ends up, or where you end up against him, or that type of thing. Apparently, compared to other zones, it's massive. I mean, when you think of Outland and the Hellfire Peninsula, I have a map here, so that's why I'm referring to it. It's a big area. So I'd imagine Tanaan would be something similar, as it is a big final zone. And if you can remember from the start of Warlords, you actually start the whole entire story there with this guy. Except it's new thrall in a cloak. This was given to me as a birthday present this year. This is a little pop thrall in his old ways with Doomhammer. and it's awesome. I love it. It can go well now with my other bastard. So I have Thrall and Jon Snow. One knows nothing, one knows everything. Obviously, with the way that Hellfire Citadel is shaping up with a lot of Fel-infused monsters and bosses and things, how much of Tanaan will be Fel magic and how much will be just Iron Horde, or will they both combine to make one ridiculously overpowered force? So next up on my list is the shipyard and the naval missions. This should be very interesting as it is a first in World of Warcraft. It'll be interesting to see how this plays a part in future expansions. You know, how you will use the ships that you have sourced and built and whatever in the future, if even you will. The same as the garrisons. After this expansion, what happens to them? Do they just stay there and you forget about them after all the time you invested, or what happens? We can only wait and see. Oh, look, it's starting to snow. So yes, this I believe will be the location for the Horde shipyard, because if you can remember during the opening of Warlords, you mined the ship and it crashed land here. So it kind of makes sense to have, you know, a harbour, things here, as you have access to the sea right behind your garrison. I'd imagine all these Rylags will eventually disappear, but yeah, we shall wait and see if this develops. Why do we need ships in order to get to Tanaan when we were at the big ginormous gate that kept everybody out? Why can't we just take that? I mean, we have freed all these zones in Draenor. It would be nice to get some help to try and take Tanaan back, but you know, obviously that would be too boring of a story because you can already think that. Plus the naval missions add a nice little addition. I did have a point here about, are you able to customize the ships? Can you know, make them as you want them racially, or do they just come in a certain way, or you know, can you change certain things about it, or you know, that type of thing. And as I was searching, doing research on this, I came across various crews that you could have, and there is one crew per race, obviously. So there's an Orcish crew, trolls, gnomes, humans. I will give you an example. On the Horde side, an Orcish crew can maintain engines so you achieve top speed. A troll can outmaneuver the first strike of any enemy. If you have, you know, a troll crew on your ship. Taurens, being the ginormous race they are, no offense Taurens, are able to keep the ship stable in a storm because they are sure-footed. A few examples on the Alliance side. Gnomes can counter whirlpools with weights and gizmos, so they protect you as you travel. Night Elves can turn quickly, and they're very hard to hit because they can navigate very well, so they're very hard to hit. And Worgens have an acute sense of danger, so it means they will avoid any first attack by anyone. So that's just a few examples of the crews that you can have on each individual ship, and obviously there's different names for Horde and Alliance ships. So as I said, it'll be interesting to see how this will pan out and how much it'll be used after Warlords. Some information on the Hellfire Citadel. The new 13 boss raid that will arrive in 6.2. I think it is. We should be in the same location as the Hellfire Citadel in Outland, the Hellfire Peninsula, but obviously it won't be as broken and as rubbishy looking. Anyways, 13 new bosses, which, let's see, should translate to about 5 raids, 5 raid wings, 3, 3, 3, 3 and 1. I'm just basing this off the Blackrock Foundry setup. But the new bosses in this new raid are the Hellfire Assault, the Iron Reaver, the Hellfire High Command, my apologies, Hellfire High Council, I'm hopefully going to say these names right, Cormrock, Kilrock Deadeye, Gorefiend, Shadow Lord Iskar, which sounds like an Arkoa, Fell Lord Zakun, Zulhorak, begins with an X. I think I have my suspicions that might be some kind of giant spider like Bethelak, but I could be completely wrong. As I said before, I haven't played any of the testing realms yet, so I don't really want to look in too far because I like things to be a surprise. Sorcathar the Eternal, Tyrant Velhari, Manaroth, who is reanimated because, as we've seen in the Warlords trailer, he is dead once again. And the Burning Legion's own Archimond, who you defeat in the instance, it's the Mount Hydro instance in the Caverns of Time. I can't remember what it's called. So basically you fight your way through the Night Elf area and then you defeat a big ginormous Archimond at the end. The loot levels, which everybody's always interested in. Mythic is 725 item level. Heroic is 710. Normal is 695. Elfar hasn't been mentioned yet, but I'm guessing based on the increments between normal, heroic and mythic, working backwards, Elfar gear should be around 680. And basing it on previous raids on this expansion, the entry level should be around 665. Saying that is based on the entry level for Blackrock was 635, and it drops like 650 gear and things for LFR. So should be 665. We'll see. There is new mounts that are always good. Me as a mount collector and a massive mount farmer that's still yet to break 100. I am sorry, but I say I'm a mount farmer / hunter, but I try and I try and I try, but they never bloody drop. But I am planning to do more achievements to try and get more. Anyways, the new mounts, I will put pictures up. Yeah. The Failsteel Annihilator, it drops from Archimond on Mythic difficulty. Next is the Reigns of the Corrupted Dreadwing, that is a reward from the Glory of the Hellfire Raider achievement. Again, there will be pictures. And as I'm talking about mounts, I may as well continue. There is an Infernal Direwolf. It costs 150,000 Apexis crystals, which is a lot. Next is the Fell Blood Gronling, and it is a achievement reward for the Kaliki the Boy Gladiator achievement, which I have no idea what that is. Maybe you do, And if you do, please leave me a comment and explain it to me. Then there are 2 PvP mounts, one for the Alliance, one for the Horde. We have the Vicious War Cordo for the Horde, and then we have the Vicious War Meccano Strider for the Alliance. As well as dropping 680 to 725 gear in Hellfire Citadel, Archimond, the final boss, will also drop class-specific trinkets. Meaning, as a Shadow Priest, I will get a trinket that is specific to me, that will help me out, instead of just being a generic, all-round cloth type of armor, that type of thing. And for me, as a Shadow Priest, this new trinket will... Let me read the little description. Mind Flay damage applies mental fatigue to the target, increasing damage taken from mind spells by 100% for 10 seconds, stacking up to 10 times. So that should provide an awful lot more damage, and I think that should help in offsetting the 12% loss from the rebalancing. So lose 12%, as I know losing the 12% is 12% overall, and these trinket buffs are only for 10-second periods, but it should be helpful. Time walking, what is this? Time walking is a new feature being added that allows characters over a certain level to queue randomly for old school dungeons. And by old school I mean dungeons that went live during the Burning Crusade expansion and the Wrath of the Lich King. Now I know a lot of people are very happy about this because these are the raids they would have ran once they joined, and they have a lot of nostalgia value. So it should be cool. As I said before in previous videos, I didn't join Warcraft until after Cataclysm was almost finished, so I missed everything previous to that. So this should be a nice way to re-encounter these raids at a difficulty level. There are 10 that they plan to test during the PTR. They are the following: the Architraz, Black Morass, Mana Tombs, the Shattered Halls, Slave Pens, and this is the one I can't pronounce, Ankahat, the Old Kingdom, Gundrak, the Halls of Lightning, the Nexus, and Utgard Pinnacle. They are the 10 that they will be putting into testing. And how it'll work is there's, I think it's 2 weekends in a month. These dungeons will go live and you don't really pick one. What you do is you randomly queue for it, and then you get grouped together with another handful of people and you get put into a random one. So it's always good that way because you don't exactly know where you're going to go. Another few facts about it are, to participate in Burning Crusade content, your character has to be above level 71. To participate in Lich King content, believe it or not, your character has to be above 81. These time walking weekends will start at midday on a Friday afternoon and continue during the weekend until noon on the Monday afternoon. Doing these, you will get something called a time-twisted anomaly. Now, I don't know the rarity of it, and it might not drop for you for a long time, but when it does, it will contain a item level 690 item, which is quite nice considering if you just run LFR all the time like I do. 690 is a big item level. Another little fact about this: when you run these dungeons, they don't get scaled up. You and your character get scaled down. You still keep all your spells and all your abilities that you have at level 100, and you just kind of get a bit of a stat squish to fit you in to these particular raids, instances, dungeons, whichever. And the cool thing about it is any loot you find in one of these dungeons, instances, raids, say you get a brilliant sword or a cool looking staff, it may not seem a lot in the instance, but when you bring it with you out back into the real world at level 100, those items will scale up. So that's a cool feature, I think. Toys and pets. This is only a little brief one, but I will mention some new pets and some new toys, and as I mention the pets, if there are pictures available, I will put them on screen. And these are a mix of wild and vendor and various type of pets. First up, we have Bloodbeak, who is very similar to the parrot that you have as a pet visitor in your menagerie in your garrison. The little bird with a massive ass beak. It is a wild pet and it's found in Tanaan. There's the Bloodthorn Hatchling, which is sold by a vendor in your garrison for 50 pet charms. I know myself, I haven't really been able to get above like 10. There is Blorp, who is this little tiny fish. He is a vendor. He is bought from a vendor in the Darkmoon Fair, and he can't battle. There is the Cerulean Moth, which is a blue-tipped moth that is again wild in Tanaan. There is a Corrupted Nest Guardian that is a raid drop from Mr. Shadowlord Iskar in Hellfire Citadel. There's a Fell Pup, which is a reward for a quest called A Fell Puppy of My Own, which I can't remember the name of the world boss, but you get this quest by killing a world boss in Tanaan. So if you kill him, he drops the quest, you accept the quest. If you complete it, you get a little Fell Puppy. Then there is the Netharia's Light. I think this one has been put in the game for a developer or something. And I read that earlier. Not 100% sure on that, but it unlocks from Dalaran, and it's certainly a weird way to get it. In order to get Netharia's Light, you have to go to Dalaran, you have to emote, you have to cheer to a certain floating candle in Dalaran. It just seems so daft. You used to run about and cheer at random floating candles. I don't know, I haven't really been to Dalaran an awful lot myself. Maybe once or twice, and I have never noticed any floating candles. So if you are always in Dalaran and maybe there is just one floating candle and that's the one you have to find, unless there's loads, which will make it a little bit more awkward. And it can't battle either, it's just a vanity type of pet. And finally, as it's a small section of new pets, there is a violent, oh no, it's not violent, it's a violet firefly. And again, it's a wild pet that can be found in Tanaan. I'd imagine all these pets will be level 25. On to the toys. Toys are strange, weird little things, but anyways, there is an indestructible bone that can be given to your perky pug, and due to seeing this, I now want a pug, so I'm going to have to do everything I can in order to grouped with heroic dungeons and raids to start to build up the numbers to 100 to get a little pug. It would be awesome to have an in-game pug. There is a spirit wand that turns your pets into like a spectral version of themselves, so they're see-through and really cool looking. I will put up some pictures of what it looks like on some existing pets now. There is a magic pet mirror, which this was actually pretty cool. This, when you use it, turns you into a copy of the pet you have live at that point, which is pretty cool because, as you know, I am a massive fan of Ragnaros, so I could turn myself into a little one. That would be awesome. There is a Tome of Secrets, not 100% sure what that does. A Seafarer's Slide Whistle, again, no idea. Tunotron Micro, apparently it's like a shrunken down version of the jukebox you have in your garrison, I believe. And then there's the Jewel of Hellfire. And a little blurb after the Jewel of Hellfire just says, stick it on your forehead. So I don't know what that means. But this has been a little brief information, my view on certain things, and I can't actually wait for 6.2 to arrive. Also, but sorry, forgot this. In 6.2 you will finish the legendary quest. Yep. And there is rumours that the ring might go as high as 790, I believe. But finishing the legendary quest means you will come up against the Gul'dan at some point. I personally, as with the last expansion's boss, Garrosh, I liked Garrosh. And everybody's like, oh, what, why the hell do you like a bad guy? But I just do. He's cool up until he went a bit wrong. And the same, I like Gul'dan. So, yeah. You will finish the legendary quest, you'll get Tanan Jungle, you will get a navy and a whole new shipyard and things in your garrison. There'll be a brand new raid with 13 raid bosses. There will be time walking that will enable you to rerun old previous raids. A lot of new pets, a lot of new toys, a lot of new mounts. So get ready for it. It will arrive sometime soon. The time walking dungeons, I believe, are being tested sometime this week, next week. So if you want to find out more information about everything, I find Wowhead's PTR write-ups to be absolutely fantastic. It tells you absolutely everything that you can ever want to know. Plus Wowhead's just an awesome website. So until 6.2 arrives, I bid you adieu.